So now I'll show you the Cannabis Buyers Club. Okay, so here we are in the heart and soul of the Cannabis Buyers Club, and you may even notice this chair that I'm sitting in. This is one of the chairs that I made. This is 6 years old now, I guess, over that. It's been with the club for a long time, and it's a pleasure to have it here. But in regards to the club, you'll see a lot of the inner workings here. It's constantly evolving. We're adding more and changing, both in here and in the front of Ted's books all the time. It's quite a working project, that's for sure. When the harvest comes in this fall, you'll notice the selection's changing. And, excuse me while I get the music. But we post all sorts of information in this part of the room. We have more books than this in our library. We post different notices over here on this board. There's always new things to discuss and media coming out with information, so it's quite a lively little center. It's a bit of a lull right now, but some days and times this fills up pretty quick and is a pretty busy little place. But it's something that, in terms of the openness of this club here that we're operating, this is the most open medical club in the world, really, in terms of how, accessible to the street it is. And it's something that we're quite proud of, that, this is a very low-key, non-paranoid environment. We're obviously not worried about authorities here. We're far more worried about criminals. We have the police hooked up to our alarm. We've called them in the past. Like I say, they're very aware of who we are and what we're doing. They've even sent people down to us before. So we're not worried about police doing anything to us. It's more criminals, people pretending to be our friends or things like that that we really have to worry about. But in general, there's not, in some ways, too much to worry about except for having enough supply, and hopefully that'll be taken care of in the near future. We're all really excited to be able to have a storefront like this, to go from being in a van to the apartment to here is really pretty incredible for many of us. It's a world that many wanted to see happen, but until they've come here and seen it and been a part of it, few thought that it would become a reality. And while legalization may have seemed to be a dream years ago when I left Ontario, and even when I started this, the legalization of cannabis for everyone's purposes, not those who are sick. This is just a temporary measure to get those who need it the most. This plant is bound and determined to become an accepted part of our society and culture, and we here are only, providing, one of many vehicles that people are using to get this plant out, into the general public eyes more, so that we all can see, the true beauty and nature of this plant. It's not what people said in the past. Reefer madness and prohibition in general have filled people's minds full of so many lies and distortions that you really have to see to believe now, given all this propaganda. And now that people have seen what we're doing, what this plant can do, whether it's getting people back onto healthy diets with AIDS or hepatitis, whether it's helping them deal with chronic back pain so they're not in terrible pain or contemplating suicide, or whether it's other people that are addicted to heroin or cocaine, or for whatever reason people need this medicine, it can keep them alive, and we've proven that. There's hundreds of people in Victoria that would not be alive without this service, and we all know and feel that every day. And it's something that is very much a privilege to be able to show you, on this videotape. There's many places in the world where this kind of information would have someone like me thrown in jail, if not worse. And, thank you for taking the time to pay attention to this little world of mine, because it's something that not everyone obviously knows about yet, but it's important here, and soon we believe it will be important that clubs like this happen everywhere. So hope you're all having a wonderful the rest of the world. And from Ted's World, we're signing off.
Anyway, yeah, if people could circle up, this is our weekly meeting of Victoria's Hempology 101 Society, the largest pot rally in the world, or weekly one anyway. Hopefully on October the 1st, I'm going to be in the Victoria courts defeating the trafficking laws in Canada. In fact, sort of on that note, I hope all the roach joints got lit. We're saving some for the courthouse. We were trying to break the record tonight, gang, but I think we had like 20.9 or 20.8 grams, something like that. So it didn't beat the record. We've actually smoked 30 grams of roaches in one night here before. I know it's obscene. But yeah, because in fact this was like 700 of the top police officers from around the world. Not many people knew it, but last year for 3 days there, a lot of guys in suits downtown were pretty heavy dudes. And when we started to actually go from Douglas Street to the BC Museum and the cops figured out what we were doing, they took off. They didn't even want to be there. So we got to show up at this convention, like escorted but unattended to. So, you know, we started to spread out and people started to pull out their pipes and we had our banners and stuff like that. And they were totally unprepared for it. It was really great to catch people like this. In fact, people may remember a man that was standing inside the glass of the BC Museum. He was actually the head of Interpol, the United Nations Secret Police, and he was fuming mad. Oh my God. Like he was just changing colors and all sorts of things as he was watching and listening to what was happening. And there was only 2 security guards there. That came out, and they were totally nervous. They did not know what to do at all. It was hilarious. I let him sweat for a minute before I come walking over and said, yeah, hey, you know, this is me and this is us and stuff. And I'm like, you know, is this where the Crime Stoppers meeting is? And they were like, oh, no. And they're like, you're not allowed to be here. This is public property or something and blah, blah, blah. And after he said public property the second time, I'm like, thank you very much for letting me know this is public property, because every time we do it on private property, they tell us to go somewhere on public property. So now I know we can come back here any week we want to.